Hi guys, this is Chris here with Lazy Oaks. I'm here today with my boy Smokey, and we're going to talk about some of the groundwork things that we do. I don't know if you guys know, but about 80% of our program is actually groundwork. We try to do everything on the ground, get them soft, supple, understanding how to move their body, and handle all that on the ground. Especially if they had a hard time at wherever the last place they were, we want to make sure that the first time we get on for that first ride, that it's a good experience for them and for us. So that way we really build that, build that friendship and build that relationship of trust and respect going forward, so that by the time they go home to you guys, they're in a really good mood about being ridden. So what we're going to work on first is a little bit of, you can call it desensitization, you can call it, whatever you want. We really start with getting them to stick their feet down, to not move their feet at all if we can help it. And we're going to work through that. So the first thing I always start with is a rope. Sometimes you're going to see me work with a driving stick. Right now I'm just going to start with just the rope. That way, if you have a horse, they have a halter and a lead rope, you'll be able to do this with any lead rope you have. This is a 14-foot lead. It has a little popper on the end, so this gives us a lot more flexibility in what we can do with it. And I always like to train in a thin rope halter so you have a little bit more leverage, if you need it. So we're going to start off with the game that we just call this, not moving your feet. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around. I'm going to face Smokey here. And I'm going to start, and I'll turn him so you can see a little better. I'm going to start on the left side always. The right side's almost always harder for them. So I'm going to start on the left side as we introduce a new concept. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this rope and I'm going to toss it up and over him and over his neck and over his legs. And I want it to wrap around the legs a little bit and then fall down. And for him, it should be review. Later on, we're going to film some more videos in the member section that'll have a lot more in-depth of how to do this. But right now, I'm just going to show you any horse that you buy from us will have had this work done. You'll want to maintain this the best you can. So I'm just going to keep going through, and I'm just going to keep running the rope all over his body. And I'm kind of doing an assessment. Is there anywhere that we need to work on? So far, what you'll see with Smokey is he's pretty good at this. He doesn't really care that much. You can even go so far as to, taking it over their face and over their ears. This is a really good way to introduce touching some areas that maybe a horse doesn't like being touched. So then, after we've gone through this entire side, we've touched him everywhere we can think of, then we're going to slide, and always do this off to the side. You're going to slide the rope up under his front leg, get the rope around it, and now I'm going to flop this rope, and as I flop it, I'm going to move it up and down to desensitize him to stuff touching his legs. Let's say he's walking on trail and walks through a bush, or gets some, caution tape or a rope or something wrapped around his legs. We just don't want him to be worried about that. So we're going to introduce this rope all over the place now, and just work it up and down. If he was worried about it, we would wait till he wasn't worried about it, then we'd stop for a second. He doesn't seem to really care. Now, if your horse is really, really good about their feet, you can just leave the rope straight. I throw a twist in the rope here, so you got a little bit better grab on that pastern there. And then what we're going to do is, see, Smokey already knows. What we're going to do is I'm going to try to pick his foot up. I'm going to give him the cue. I'm going to click a couple times. I'm going to say foot, because that's what I do with our horses. And then I'm going to pick his foot up. And now I want to control his foot and kind of get ownership of his feet for a period of time. So I want that foot about a foot from where it is in front of it. That's my plan. It may take me a little bit to get there, but let's just see how it goes. So I'm going to go foot. He's going to pick it up. I'm going to hold it, and then I'm going to set it down about a foot in front of where it was. Now, when I let the rope be loose here, he should keep his foot there. If he moves his foot, he's not quite settled. He doesn't quite trust that that's an okay spot for his foot, but he doesn't want it there. He'd rather stand back. So watch, he's going to move it now, and then we're going to say, nope, 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 nope. We said here. I know it's not comfortable. We said here. Now, if it stays there for a few seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, they're starting to really get it. He moved it after a while, but ideally, you put it there, they don't move it at all until you give them permission otherwise. So as that foot gets moved over, you want them to put it down where you place it, and you want to be able to take the rope, totally loosen it, and have them stay there. I feel pretty good about that. He didn't move it at all that time for about 15 seconds, so we're going to leave that alone. I'm going to pet him, let him know that what I asked him, he did a good job on. Now we're going to pet down his side with the rope. Notice I'm going to rub this rope all over him. And then same thing, if you have a horse that's not used to it, you're going to want to step out a little bit. You're going to feed it from front to back, and you're going to grab that rope. Now, if the horse has, is sensitive on their flanks or being touched anywhere, you're going to want to fix that first before you move on to this, because this can really get them upset. So Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the same thing, we're gonna take the rope up and down and flop it up and down his legs. I want it to go down by his feet. I want it to go down up here, and this is the hardest for him. I wanna swing it up and over the other side while it's up under his flanks. If you can get a horse to stand still with doing this, they're not gonna freak out if something touches them up underneath. I'm gonna go all the way down to the pastern again. I'm gonna wrap it one time so that I have a better grip, and I'm just gonna go foot. And hopefully, he should give it to me. I'm gonna put it down about a foot in front of where he normally would put it. And then once he sets it down, I'm gonna release it. So that, that is him showing me he's okay with me moving his foot in that place. Maybe he doesn't love it, but his headset, the way his eyes look, the way his ears look, the way his mouth is hanging, his lips hanging, everything tells me that he's calm and he's not really concerned about this. Obviously, if it's the first time you're introducing it to a horse, different story. Any horse that comes through our program will have had all this stuff done with them. They're probably not going to be as calm as Smokey is about it, but they will have been exposed to all of it. And if you continue that work at home, they're only going to get better and better and better. So we're going to ask him one more time. Foot. Thank you. And we're going to set that foot back down. If they fight and they move around, I'm just going to hold it until he calms down and sets it down. So right here, like he's going to pull a little bit. And then I'm going to let him set it down, and then I'm going to release the pressure. If he keeps it there for a little bit, he put his weight on it, so he's a little bit back. We're going to take it back again. Okay, and we're going to set it down. And the back end of the horse is the defensive end of the horse. They use that back end, that's their powerhouse. So you're going to find that more often than not, the back feet are way harder to get doing this than the front feet because that's his defensive end. Now, a really broke horse isn't going to really care about having that anymore. But just keep in mind, if it's harder in the back, don't be surprised. Okay? We're going to pick it up one more time and set it down. And this time I don't want him to move at all. And give it 5 to 10 seconds. He's pretty committed. I'm going to let him go on that one. Now, don't always expect perfection. If you get marked improvement, you should stop on that so the horse is motivated to do it the next time. So we're going to turn around. We're going to go on the right side. The right side is almost always harder. Almost every horse we work with, the right side is very much more difficult. We walk them on the left. We saddle them from the left. Just as a horse community, everything happens on the left. So in the right eye, everything is scarier. It's more dangerous. We work really hard on the right side to make sure that the horse gets tons of work on the right side. We'll even mount them on the right side. That way, they're more evenly balanced rather than just having one side. So we're going to continue on here. We're going to see how he does. We're just going to swing it over. You don't want the popper to really, pop on him. You want to just make it so that it just kind of slaps around. And I want to touch him everywhere. If you have breeding mares that you're working with, you really want to spend some time making sure you get this rope up under, anywhere you're going to want to touch. If you're going to want to be checking the teats and seeing if there's, milk coming in, like we're doing right now with our pregnant mares, you're going to really want to spend time right here making sure that you can touch anywhere up under there, and they don't care. If you have a horse that's really nervous about it, you can use the stick, which I'll show in a future video. But for now, he seems pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. We're going to wrap it around his back legs and see, he looks pretty good. So I'm going to feed it from front to back. I'm going to keep my body away in case he got worried about it. And then I'm going to grab that there. So we're just going to flop it up and down, up and down, up and down. And if we get up and down to here, and then I'm going to toss it up and over to the other side. This is usually the part they hate the most. And then if we're successful with that, we're going to drop down to that pastern again. Throw one loop on the rope just so you can hold it better. Click. Say foot. He's already doing it for me. And then we're going to set it down about a foot from where it was. And we're going to release the pressure. If he keeps it there for us for 5 to 10 seconds, we'll call that good. If we have any doubt whether he really meant it, we might try it again. But just don't ever push too far. I've done it plenty of times, and it just makes it so much more difficult the next time you work with them. Okay? So now I'm going to go foot, picks his foot up, and then he sets his foot down. Okay? And he's licking and chewing, so we're going to end on that. But what I want you to what I want to show you is, this is what, if you do this kind of work, this is what it looks like when you go to grab their foot. Foot. Picks his foot all the way up for me. I didn't have to grab it. That's the result of working with them with this drill. So that's keep your feet still, leg rope work, whatever you want to call it. This is one of the first steps I do with any horse that comes into the ranch. I want to know, are they spooky? Do they care about their feet being touched? And if they're kind of, a little bit angry about their feet, like we'll have a video coming up here pretty soon of one of our horses, Hank, who came in really angry about his feet, and he's doing a heck of a lot better. and we will show you with him how, kind of how we dealt with that situation. But if you get this far like Smokey is, they'll pick up their feet. Anytime you ask them for any reason, they're not worried about it at all. So that's that exercise, and we really appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.